And we're back with another, nope, wrong video. Hey everybody, today is Friday, October 13th, 2023. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news that has been going on this week. You got Jake at home today. I'm still kind of moving in. I'm still a mess, but we got a lot of news to talk about. So let's just jump in. The first thing, of course, the biggest news story of the week is a new PlayStation 5 confirmed. For real this time, officially by Sony. Coming this holiday season, yes, we officially have the slimmed down PlayStation 5. According to Sony, it's about 30% smaller in a variety of different ways, and there is going to be still a physical edition with a disc drive and an all-digital version. Like the rumors that we've talked about for many months now, there is the option to buy a disc drive and attach it to the digital version. So the prices, I'm going to show them on screen here from the official PlayStation blog, but in the United States, the disc drive version is still $500 USD, and the digital edition is $450, a noted price increase. The Blu-ray disc drive will be sold separately for $800 in the United States, and they redesigned the stand as well. It looks ugly, but they're charging $30 for it. This is like a flashy, shiny, vertical stand. So yes, this is actually going to be coming with a 1 terabyte SSD, and you can expect it this holiday season. Apparently it is going to be available this November at direct.playstation.com and stores, and I wonder if that's going to be a nightmare like the PlayStation 5 launch was. Still, they did note that once the original PlayStation models phase out, these are going to be the models moving forward. We're probably going to go to the store and get our hands on one and like buy it and make a video and test it out just to make sure it works, but there's nothing game-changing or crazy different here other than, for me personally, I like that it has a 30% reduction in volume. I find the PS5 to be a big, massive boy, so I'll take what I can get there. Also, the option to add a disc drive, good for consumer choice. How the heat and how everything works internally and like what they changed up remains to be seen, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But if you were looking or waiting for a PlayStation 5, maybe hang on to November because you can get a fresh shiny one with a little line going through it. I mean, there's more to it than that, but yeah. Switching over to a weird, bizarre news story I wanted to talk about. Activision head Bobby Kotick, the infamous CEO who everybody has hated for many, many years, is probably on some of his last days at Activision Blizzard, considering the Xbox acquisition deal is slated to go through for the most part. The rumors are suggesting that Xbox is gearing up to finalize and make the announcement today at some point. So I'm recording this video very early in the day on Friday, so that does remain to be seen. We'll either try to update the video if we can, or if there's something of note, we'll dive into it more deeper next week. But there is that, so that could finally be a thing. I think at this point, though, it'll still be a long time before we see that deal actually finally fall into place. When Xbox bought Bethesda, it took a minute for things actually to really settle in. That's not the story here I wanted to talk about, though. It's the dumber story revolving around Bobby Kotick, who apparently hosted a big Activision internal company meeting where it was him and James Corden, late night show host guy. And they talked about the Activision Blizzard, the Xbox acquisition and stuff. And at one point during it, apparently Bobby Kotick strongly hinted at a Guitar Hero revival, suggesting that now they're going to have so much more resources, they can do a bunch of crazy stuff. The reemergence of Guitar Hero and other things would not be possible without the different types of resources. And so, you know, just the endless possibilities for the future that are just incredibly exciting. That's the big quote. There is a lot more to it, going on record about like how Activision Blizzard is going to change, how they're going to be able to take advantage of Microsoft's resources, corporate talk, blah, 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 all that type of stuff. It's just funny that James Corden was in the room. What is going on? Also, in the world where in the last couple of months or so many development studios and game developers have faced a lot of hardships and layoffs, they managed to get James Corden in there. Corporations are weird, I don't know, but I do want to pose the question off to you in the comments. With the bubbling up, with these murmurs of a Guitar Hero revival, what do you think? Because that was a massive deal for quite some time, and I would like to see them come back, but I wonder how that would work in the modern gaming landscape. Games with selling with peripherals aren't really much of a thing anymore. I think the last of that died out with the games, the toys games as a service type things like Disney Infinity and Skylanders, so I don't know what Guitar Hero looks like now, other than just, what the hell, bring it back. I don't know. I would love to see that. I'd also really, really like to see more Rock Band. There are people out there that are still Rock Band diehards, and I think them even hearing a little whiff of Guitar Hero probably gets them excited for something. But let me know what you guys think. Hey, now before we keep going, jumping over here real quick to talk about today's sponsor, Raycon. Now, if you haven't heard by now, Raycon is the sponsor that's had our back for a long time, specifically because they offer good quality features and sound at about half the price of other premium wireless audio brands. Still, their main go-to for me is the everyday earbuds. These are nice, easy to use little earbuds that pair up Bluetooth nice and easy. They fit in your ears, they don't fall out. But my favorite part, of course, is the handy dandy little charging carrying case. You can fit it right in your pocket, or don't do that. But we have to talk about something. You may have heard me mention in the past Raycon's anniversary sale. And this year, it's a big deal because they're celebrating 6 years. This year, they've expanded into Raycon Home and Raycon Power Tech. So there's a lot of options for every consumer and a lot to celebrate. And how they're celebrating, to thank everybody who's had their back, is offer a huge birthday sale with 20% off site-wide, with even 40% off some select products. Go check them out. It helps the show. The everyday earbuds specifically have 78,000 5-star reviews for a good reason. So celebrate Raycon turning 6 with their biggest sale of the year going on now. Hurry on over to buyraycon.com/gameranx and use code BIRTHDAY for 20 to 40% off site-wide. Again, that's buyraycon.com/gameranx. Use code BIRTHDAY for big savings, and big thanks to Raycon for sponsoring this video. Next up, still in the news in the conversation, is Cyberpunk 2077 and the Phantom Liberty expansion. After all these years and the massive screw-up that was the launch of Cyberpunk 2077, the game is fixed and people are generally pretty positive on the 2.0 update and the Phantom Liberty expansion. We put out a video on it. I definitely enjoyed my time with it. It's nice to see the game finally be a net positive, well put together game at this point. But CD Projekt Red, the developers, the publisher, has been going on record a lot about what's next. Their chief creative officer talked about the new project codenamed Orion, the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077. Development is apparently going to start here and be in collaboration with a new US-based studio, CD Projekt Red North America in Boston. And the quote from the chief creative officer is, "This project is on a conceptual design level right now, and it's going to be designed by a team of veterans who are responsible for fine-tuning Cyberpunk 2077 and designing Phantom Liberty. We're working out of North America, Vancouver, and Boston. Team leadership is already there, and in late 2024, we're going to work with teams comprising several dozen people, while as a target, half of the developers are going to work out of northern US and the other half out of Poland." Along with that, Phantom Liberty, the expansion, apparently sold 3 million copies in the first week of availability, as reported by Video Games Chronicle. I'll link that source in the description down below. All this really does confirm is that, like, despite that drop with the launch of 2077 a couple years ago, CD Projekt Red is still doubling up, becoming a bigger operation, working on multiple projects at once. There's a Witcher project, now a new Cyberpunk, and during that same investor presentation conference thing, Quest director Paweł Sesko did go on record when asked about CD Projekt Red considering a third-person option for the next Cyberpunk game, and like if they actually regretted not having one in this game, because I know a lot of people went into 2077 wishing it had a third-person mode. Well, he went on record saying, "There are no regrets on our part. What we wanted was for Cyberpunk to have its own identity and be noticeable as this different thing. The first-person perspective is the main characteristics for Cyberpunk, and its perception by the players too. It's noticeably different from The Witcher, and this helped us craft the identity as such." Interestingly enough, though, they did kind of say that they've yet to make up their mind on how the next game will go down, first or third person, because as I mentioned in the earlier part of the story, it's so early in the design process, they apparently just don't have that figured out yet. So I'm sure a lot of fans are waiting with bated breath to see what the deal actually is going to be. But it's probably going to be a long time before we hear anything, because games take a long ass time to make. And speaking of European development studios, Alan Wake 2's development studio Remedy did make headlines this week for their communications director coming out and talking about the difficulties of developing with Xbox Series S. This has been a thing, kind of an ongoing conversation for a while. As you probably remember, the lead behind Baldur's Gate 3 did come out and say they were facing some difficulties dealing with scaling with the Xbox Series S. And here with Remedy, communications director Thomas Pua said that we like Xbox, we like Sony. He says, he's covering his tracks, he says, we like Xbox, we like Sony. On Series S, the CPU is pretty much the same. That's not a massive difference, but the GPU is an issue. It really is. And then having less memory is a pretty big problem. He goes into the process of like how they as a team work with developing games on PC and scaling them, and it's pretty well thought out. I think people like to use this type of stuff, these types of comments as fuel for a console war type of thing. Xbox better, PlayStation better. But I think it's just an interesting conversation as to Microsoft's approach towards the business. They wanted accessibility. They wanted people to be able to jump in and get a not 4K console at a lower price with Series S and get into the Xbox ecosystem, but at what cost? Is there a trade-off, and is that trade-off going to be worth it in the future of the consoles and hardware and development for the Xbox platform? That remains to be seen, but it's just another developer going on record. Hey, now I want to link some other cool things in the description down below for you guys. The first is a trailer for an expansion, new content for Dredge. This is that kind of indie style boat game. I've talked about it, I think, on my other channel. Really enjoyed it. It's a good game if like you're playing it on Switch or Steam Deck in bed. It's one of those good vibe games, but it's a little creepy. Now, there is an expansion coming. That was like a new climate, new mysteries, everything. It's called The Pale Reach, and that's coming November 16th. Also, we linked our before you buy for the new Lords of the Fallen. It's looking pretty cool, mostly being received pretty well. I did not work on the before you buy on this one. I needed a break. I'm working on like 3 other games at once. So Eric behind the scenes and Falcon worked on this. So if you want to check that out, that will be linked in the description down below. Also, I forgot to link it last week, but I wanted to link it now, like a big cinematic trailer for Spider-Man 2. If you're looking forward to that game like I am, this trailer is pretty cool. It's just like a pre-rendered cinematic, but yeah, it's Spider-Man and Miles Morales versus Venom. Also, speaking of PlayStation, though, that Access controller is now officially really dropping. They've been working on it for a while. This is PlayStation's accessibility-minded controller. Xbox, of course, has the adaptive controller. This is PlayStation's spin on it, essentially offering a $90 controller that has a bunch of different interchangeable parts and inputs so that people facing any types of disabilities or motor function issues can adapt this controller to be able to play the way they need to play. These types of controllers, regardless of platform, anything, I think are a huge win for the industry. They get more people playing who otherwise couldn't or couldn't easily. They break down all the ways it can be customizable, and it's going to be dropping December 6th for $90. Evaluating accessibility, things like this isn't really our department, but when it does drop on the Friday show, I will link some good resources and info about it for people who test it properly. Oh shit, I mean not oh shit, but Assassin's Creed Mirage is doing well. Ubisoft put out a statement saying, with the number of players being in line with past successful launches such as Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, we are humbled by the positive reception. We are proud to also share that Assassin's Creed Mirage is the biggest new-gen launch in terms of unit sales to date at Ubisoft. It seems like a lot of people are really loving this one. I love the series since the beginning, and I think that made me extra picky with this one. So I've kind of been in the minority, not loving it, but what I do love about it is that it is a step in the right direction towards returning to roots, really trying to focus on just stealth, being a smaller, more better contained thing. And I thought this was just going to be a quick one-off spin-off thing, but the fact that apparently it is doing well sales-wise makes me speculate whether or not Ubisoft is going to continue making their mobile game, their big action RPG Assassin's Creed games, and then make some weird, smaller scale ones like this. I've gotten a little bit more in depth on that. It's like, explain yourself, Jake, on my channel, youtube.com/Jake Baldino, if you want to hear me talk about that. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Mirage seems like the people are digging it. So it's a win for people who don't want Assassin's Creed games that last 200 hours, I guess. Oh, but I also wanted to link a new YouTuber has hit the platform. It is none other than former Platinum Games game developer head Hideki Kamiya. Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel, and he put a video out answering some fan questions, talking about how he's left the studio, and apparently he has seemingly a non-compete clause, so he can't work in game development for a year. But after that, he says he very much wants to get back into game development. He kind of talked about why he left the studio, but it's a little vague. He just kind of wanted to do his own thing. Sounded like there was some disagreement there, but nothing too like nasty or anything like that. But it's a funny video, and then he drives off in like a 2000s era Lamborghini. And you know what? You love to see it. Thanks for the good games, dude. I hope he comes back with like a new studio, maybe brings in some other, classic Capcom heads in there and makes something cool. But for now, he's riding a Lambo off into the sunset. Maybe that'll be me one day. Probably not. Maybe it'll be you one day. I don't know. Probably not. We'll all be here and eating Kamiya's dust, but hopefully playing some games. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but that's a Friday show. That's all the news and stuff we wanted to talk about this week, from Guitar Hero coming back to what Cyberpunk is doing next and CD Projekt Red, to the Xbox Series S stuff and a new PlayStation 5 console. Let's talk about any of this stuff down in the comments. I definitely want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think. We'll be down there as much as possible, but things get a little chaotic. So of course, if you want to yell at me directly, find me on social media and my other channel. All that's going to be linked in the description down below. That being said, I got to get back to work on Spider-Man. The Before We Buy is coming early next week, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But I'm Jake Baldino. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Pizza's on me.